Ducks fans, are you ready? You are listening to the Ducks and Pucks podcast. This is the #1 home for Anaheim Ducks talk and analysis. Here we go.
Welcome to the show. This is your host, Mike Walters, along with my co-host, Eddie Richard, and we are back with another show. There is no hockey, as you all know. There is no sports in the world of any kind with everything going on with COVID-19. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of the Ducks games that we went to before this happened. We're going to talk about the timeline of the NHL shutting down play. We've got some interesting poll questions of how you're going to entertain yourself while you're at home. What are you going to get at the grocery store? To fight it out with some people, as Eddie and I have got some experiences to share with you. And of course, we'll talk about some league news and how the Ducks and other teams and players are helping out people as well. Before we start the show, we'll wish everybody a happy St. Patrick's Day. You're probably at home drinking because you can't go anywhere, unfortunately. But I'm having my Moscow Mule as usual. And Eddie, what are you drinking right now?
I feel like I have a hat trick of beers right now because I have a Modelo that I'm starting right now. I have a Blue Moon next and a Michelob Ultra. Wow, that sounds like an alcoholic problem right there. 3 beers lined up for a show, one show.
Well, hey, you're talking about hat tricks.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, it's St. Patrick's Day, and you and I, the last game we went to was the Ducks against Ottawa, and someone named Deslauriers had a hat trick. So if this is the last Ducks regular season game or game of the whole year, or however it pans out, you and I had a blast at this last one. The Ducks took on Ottawa before we did after our last show, and they blew him out of the water early in this game. Nick Deslauriers getting a natural hat trick, scoring on 3 shots in a row. The Ducks going nuts in the beginning, going up 4-0. Also, Silverberg getting a power play goal in this game, and the Ducks went on to win this one 5-2. What a wild game, Eddie. The Ducks actually didn't play that well in this game. I know everyone's going, What are you talking about? They're up 4-0 in the first period. Yeah, they're up 4-0, but it was all because of Nick Deslauriers, because the Ducks ended up getting outshot in this game 42-15, which was terrible. But once they had gotten that huge lead, it was just cruise control after that, Eddie.
Yeah, the whole momentum was all on the Ducks. It was just a great game. Thank you, Mike, for bringing me to that game. If that's my last game of this season, I'm glad I got to witness that hat trick that Nick Deslauriers scored. What a player, a sandpaper kind of guy. He goes out there, he works his ass off, 110% each game. He stands up for his teammates, and for him to get rewarded with the hat trick, it just is awesome. Like, that smile was just from ear to ear, like just a beautiful smile, and he's just so happy to do it. And I got a good video of you throwing your DucksNPucks hat on the ice, so that was pretty fun. Unfortunately, I didn't bring a hat or a beanie or anything. I totally forgot. So I still haven't checked that off my bucket list to actually throw something during a hat trick. Hopefully next season, or hopefully in a few weeks or months, whenever, if the season resumes, I can go to another game and hopefully another hat trick gets scored and I can throw something on the rink.
Yeah, and that was funny because my hat landed somewhere in the 200 level, and I saw some people saying, it didn't get all the way out there, but then there was a photo of a bunch of hats on the ice, and it was out there. You could see it made it. So I folded it up and threw it with, closed up as best I could, and it made it down there. But that was hilarious because you were there and you were able to record it. And that was just a crazy first period, too. Trying to post all the videos, I was shocked I was able to get them all on my phone and post them, because it seemed like I would, put down the first goal and it was like, oh, he scores the next one. Put down the second goal, oh, he scores a hat trick. I mean, it was like, holy crap. He was just, they kept putting him back out there on the ice like they should have. So that was a wild, wild game, fun game to see the Ducks win. We also got to see Bobby Ryan. He came back and with all his alcohol issues and whatnot, he was able to play too. So it was a good game all the way around. I think one of the things that was crazy about this too, Eddie, is that Deslauriers now holds the record for the fastest hat trick in Ducks history. The record that was held by Teemu Selanne back in 1997. He did it in just under 13 minutes, and Deslauriers did it just under 12 minutes, which that right there was just crazy, Eddie.
Oh yeah, he was just on fire that game. It's just like that puck was like a magnet to his stick. It just kept coming to him, and you could just sense something was gonna happen. I even told you too, like it'll be funny if he gets that hat trick, or he's just on fire the way he's playing. Like man, he just it was such a great game to witness. And for those of you asking what's a natural hat trick, it's 3 consecutive goals scored by one player. So it's like not a goal scored in between. It's just that player gets 3 consecutive goals in a row and no one else scores. So that's a natural hat trick, and it's just it was something great to witness. Part of Ducks history. It's a memory I'm never going to forget. I'm glad I was there, Mike. Thank you once again for bringing me to the game. And the only thing I would hope that comes out of this, if Solani gets a little bit upset, he wants to come out of retirement and get his record back.
Yeah, he might want to have to do that, But, this game was great, like we said. And then the next night, the Ducks had their makeup game against the Blues. They ended up losing this game. They didn't play terrible. They fought it out. Obviously, it started out with a 1-1 score. They counted the goals from the previous game. We had Stolarz get his first crack at it at an NHL start. Hakanpää got his first goal as well. And the Ducks fought it out. This was a close game. It was 3-2 late in the third. Then the Blues got an empty net goal, and they ended up winning this one. But overall, it was a good game despite the score. The Ducks came out with some energy too. I noticed you mentioned in the recap article, Eddie, they had played the night before against Ottawa. There was no slump of energy in this game. I thought, despite losing, that they did come out with a good effort.
Oh, yeah, they played amazing this game despite them losing. If they had this same momentum and energy against Ottawa, like that score would have been, I don't know, they probably would have scored 9 or 10 goals that game if they played the way they did. Stolarz wasn't that bad. He's a really big guy, but he has a lot of agility. And the way he makes saves, he just kind of just flops around, but he just always great position-wise. And it's hopeful for the future if Ryan Miller decides to retire, that we have a capable backup that could play, under John Gibson and play that style. And I really enjoyed his game, and it was still a fun one to watch. I loved all the energy from the Ducks. At one point, they were outplaying the Blues, the Stanley Cup championship team, the Blues, and the Blues are a really good team. They were matching their speed and their physicality. It was overall a fun game, and it's unfortunate that was the last game that we were able to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the last one for now, because during that time was when all the craziness unfolded. There was rumors about the league not playing anymore. It was going to be suspended, or they were going to play it and not have an audience, but have just the players out there. And it was up in the air. And I honestly thought during the game and after, because we had gotten word from several different people, employees that worked there, people that were at the game, other NHL officials, that it was down to play with no fans or suspend the play temporarily. And I honestly thought at that time, based upon what was going on, that it sounded like they were going to play with empty arenas. And then the next day, we all woke up. The NBA announced that they had not 1 but 2 players with COVID-19, and then you basically saw the writing on the wall. Once that happened, they knew that it was starting to get worse and worse and worse. They decided to shut it all down. Bettman came out, and then they posted that on the NHL social media and website and all that stuff, that the league was suspended the following day, and it got all crazy. And it's changed so many times that the initial plan, they said they were hoping 3 to 4 weeks, come back, play mid-April. They halted all the activities, no team meetings, no practices, anything like that. Obviously, a couple days later, they then said that all the players were going to self-quarantine until March 27th. They are allowing players to go back home, but then they updated it now. Instead of being 3 to 4 weeks, now they're talking about 2 months, and they're hoping that they can have a training camp in 45 days. And all this is fluid. I mean, it just changes. I think it changes every hour, Eddie. I sit there looking at my phone while I'm at home, just going, okay, when's the next update going to come? But it's kind of crazy. They're talking about, maybe not having the rest of the regular season and then just going to playoffs. And if they do playoffs, they're talking about having a 24-team format. Then I've seen them say they're going to have everybody. I don't know. It's just unprecedented times, Eddie. It's just crazy right now. I don't know what's going to happen. What do you think as far as them coming back? You think they'll come back and maybe play the rest of the season, or just go to playoffs, or you think they'll just say F it and start next year?
I have no idea. It's one of those things where, like you said, it changes every hour. I don't know the actual severity of what's going on. I take things more lightly, and I'm more of a like one day at a time kind of person, and I don't really follow like the news and educate myself on that. I don't like to hear too much negativity in my life, but it's kind of a scary time right now to think, there's no hockey, there's no sports, there's no leisure, and for a lot of us, like myself included, I deal with mental health issues, and hockey is a form of an escape for me, and it helps me. It gives me something to look forward to each and every day, and those days where I don't feel like going and continuing, I have hockey to lean on. So I really feel bad for people that are in worse predicaments than myself, that that may be thinking differently, and I don't know. It's like a scary time, and like we said this numerous times on the show. If you guys need to talk, feel free to reach out and talk to us. We'll talk about anything. BS or whatever, but I really hope the season comes back. It's just that's like my number one priority besides making sure everyone's healthy and safe. I mean, that's obviously takes precedence over it, but it's just kind of a weird time right now, and it's kind of a borderline scary time because we don't know what's going on, and what's going to happen. Like, it's just everything's at a standstill and a pause right now. So we should have to like kind of like sitting here with our thumbs at our ass, just waiting and see what's going on, but. And I do want to apologize too. I have on social media and Twitter and Facebook. I grew up in a law enforcement background and a military environment, so I joke around a lot. So if some of you guys got offended by some of the jokes, I still take this seriously. I have elderly family members. I have my parents, and I'm sure you guys have your grandparents too, which I don't have. Unfortunately, but I just I don't do it because I'm taking it lightly. I just do it to try to like get a rise out of people and make people just laugh a little bit, especially in these times right here. So just don't take it just being like inconsiderate and just taking lightly of the situation, because obviously what's going on, I'm not taking it lightly. But I just like to to go over there and make people laugh at times, and just if I can make one person smile, I mean that's my goal right there.
No, I feel you too. I've been sitting at home as well, like most of you have too. If you're not at work, obviously, then you're at home, and because there's not really much else you can do other than like go to the gas station or the grocery store. I mean, that's really the limit of what you can do now as the days have unfolded. But the way that this has gone. You have to have a little bit sense of humor, and yes, maybe sometimes it's a little dark or whatever, the way we joke around. I posted a video of a Cheers episode. My wife and I had been watching those, and we were cracking up because it came on and it had a guy that goes into the bar and he talks about being a scientist and working on these mutant viruses, and it's not a big deal, and he walks out. And then you see them all spraying down the place and wiping down the place and getting all nuts. And I mean, it was funny because that's what we're doing. We're all doing that stuff right now. That's just the way it is. I mean, it's not meant to poke fun at anybody that's being overly cautious. That's just the way it is right now. And I just thought I couldn't believe we were at home watching it, and I go, this is coming on right now. It was too funny. And then unfortunately, some of the social media giants, if you will, or platforms wouldn't let me post the video. It's kind of unfortunate. I posted it on Facebook and they muted it. I posted it on Instagram and they muted it. So I did get it on Twitter. So if you didn't see it, you can go on there and see it. But I thought it was pretty funny just because of the timing. And, the show Cheers, yes, it dates myself. It's an older show, but it was just very relevant and funny for the time. So hopefully you got a laugh out of that. I mean, that's like what Eddie and I are talking about. I mean, you have to have a sense of humor in this somehow, because we're going to go nuts if we're all just sitting at home, depressed, out of our minds. You got to find out, what some things to do and whatnot. And that's what we got some poll questions that we'll talk about a little bit later in the show. But some good news we can talk about is some of the things that the Ducks are doing, and around the league. When we get to the league news, we'll get to it. But we'll focus on the Ducks right now because that's kind of like our normal middle segment, if you will, what's going on with the team. I thought a really good thing that happened, Eddie, was when you found this out, is that the Samueli sent out an email to the employees saying that they were going to pay the part-time and full-time employees that are scheduled to work until the end of the month of March, till the 31st. And I thought that was awesome because that happened, and then it seemed like a lot of other teams followed through. We'll go into specifics, like I said, later in the show, but teams fell through on that. Players did that. I know like Mark Cuban talked about it, being with the Dallas Mavericks owner and whatnot and different things like that. And to me, that was really huge and that was uplifting because I know a lot of people that work at Honda Center, and I don't think everyone realizes this, but those people, they depend on that job either as their primary source of income or, as one of their primary sources of income. I mean, it's difficult. You have to tell them that, hey, you aren't going to be able to work. And don't forget, Honda Center and other arenas, it's not just hockey. They have other events that they work. So you're telling them that, hey, for this next month, you're not going to be able to work. And we don't know how long this is going to go on. It could go on longer. But I thought it was very refreshing that the owners came out and did that, Eddie. I think that was a very good positive.
Oh, yeah. I was so proud to be a Ducks fan at that moment, too. It just once I talked to the person that gave me that information, he asked her, if he wants to remain anonymous. But once I got that information, I verified it, and it was just like my heart was beating at like extra beats right there. It's so compassionate, and the owners really care about their employees, and they didn't want to do it for oh hey look at us, we're doing this, let's pat each other on the back, because the Ducks didn't announce it. They didn't come on social media and announce it. They just did it internally for their employees, and I thought that was like so generous and so amazing that they did that. I was so happy, and then I posted it late at night. I think it was like 10:30 when I posted it, and it just blew up. Like all the fans too, just all your comments and your love for the employees at Honda Center. You guys are just so happy and grateful. Like at that moment, I just felt that there was nothing going on in the world. It was just like I had it's just joy. Like it's breathtaking. It left me speechless a little bit, seeing so many comments and so many people reacting to it and seeing that great gesture. And I'm glad that a lot of other teams have followed, and the teams that haven't followed, it's shame on you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I haven't kept track, honestly, of every team that has or hasn't. I mean, I am sitting at home with not as much to do, but I'm not sitting there looking at every team. A lot of teams and a lot of players have done that, so that's been the good thing. And like Eddie said, the ones that aren't, then shame on you. Another good thing, though, that the Ducks did do as well, if you're an Orange Alliance member, your first payment was due on March 16th. The team extended it. It's now not due till April the 2nd. So another little thing to help out people as well. It's not a big thing, but they're delaying the payment for a couple weeks. They may delay the other payments as well. Like we said, it's just up in the air. That's just kind of the way things are right now. But again, the organization is trying to help out the fans as well. There's other teams that are doing that as well. I saw the Vegas Knights are doing it. So I thought that was another good positive, Eddie.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like at these times, like you posted too, we had to stick together. And hockey is a really close group of people. And like real hockey fans have that class and courtesy for each other. We have to be there for each other. These teams helping out, we'll talk about later on the show during our league news portion, what players donating and what other teams are doing. Just like right now, we have to be there for each other, and that's all we can do. Just hope for the best and be there for each other and keep everyone in our thoughts and prayers. Especially, I think this is big for me. I think the only worst thing I can remember in my life was 9/11 was a really tragic incident. But you know what? I always say, united we stand, divided we fall. If we come together, we're going to overcome this and we're going to beat this. Come on, guys. Let's just drop our gloves on this virus and let's start hitting back, and we'll soon overcome it. And then we'll be stronger and more unified for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the key. Patience. We have to stay strong, as we talked about before. So a couple other things did happen with the team. The league stopped player transactions as of March 16th, 2 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific and 5 p.m. Eastern. The Ducks made some moves. They sent Stolarz and Hakanpää back down to the goals. They're waiver exempt. And then they also sent Sherwood down. He did pass the waivers and get reassigned. So those were a couple of the moves that were made. I know some people were upset about Sherwood, not in the sense that he got sent down, but because of his contract and getting paid less money. I don't have an answer as to why that happened. I know that they're kind of gearing up, obviously, to have the team play for the AHL. The AHL is also suspended right now as well, along with every other league is either suspended or been canceled. Obviously, the the timing of different things. It's all coming out. One day someone's suspended, the next day someone's not playing anymore. So it's changing rapidly. But at the time of the show and the time of those moves, that's my understanding is why those moves were made is for the Calder Cup run, if there is actually a run, of course. But that's all I really have on that, Eddie. I didn't know if you wanted to share anything or what you thought about Sherwood getting sent down, because I saw some people pretty upset about that.
Yeah, I think people are more upset thinking that it was made because, I guess, to save the Ducks money, instead of him getting paid his NHL salary, gets paid the AHL salary. I don't know. I think there's a time and place for everything. I think this time it wasn't appropriate for Murray to be making transactions when everything is at a standstill. And that same thing could be said about those dips, like I call them, at player safety, suspending Brendan Lemieux for his hit like a day after they announced a pause in the NHL season. It's just a time and place, and I think it wasn't the most appropriate time for either of those transactions. So, I mean, that's all I have to say for that. The only other team I know that made another transaction was the Rangers. They signed someone. But other than that, I mean, once they announced the hockey was pretty much paused, they should have just left it at that and not really been trying to do transactions. But you know what? He's a GM. I'm not. So, I mean, I guess it's his move, his team, so he can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, it was kind of weird, like you said, but he made those couple moves right before the league got frozen. So now there won't be any moves. We don't have to worry about any of that. Now the concern is obviously if the sport will come back along with all the other sports. So right now, with no sports and no social gatherings, right, you got to hang out. We canceled our watch party, obviously, the one that we were going to have coming up. We did some poll questions, and we did some different stuff this time, try and change it up a little bit. Can't really have too many poll questions about hockey as much. The last show, if you didn't hear about it, we talked a lot about Murray and his job and whether or not you thought he was doing a good enough job or not. So if you didn't hear that, you can go back to the last show and you can listen to us debate that. Eddie and I kind of took different angles on that. Very good show. The last one basically before the season was paused, but we did a couple now because what are you doing? I mean, you're at home if you're not at work. And we kind of call this the hashtag home hobbies. And we ask people, what are you doing with your free time now to see. And we got mixed results. I think some things some of you are probably doing right now and others of you are probably like, huh? So we'll kind of go through these and Eddie and I will share what we're doing. I'll tell you some of what I'm doing involves drinking. I have been doing that. I've been working out too and cleaning up the house, things like that. But some of the things that people talked about, we had Zach. He said, I reactivated my Netflix account, and he's watching movies. I've seen that from a lot of you. I've gotten responses or seen people posting that I'm catching up on different movies or television series. So that seems to be a popular one. We had TJ tell us that he's writing fictional stories. Good for you. I am not a writer of stories. I mean, I can do articles, but more power to you. We've got Robert. He said he's cleaning out his DVR. And then this one I've seen a lot of. It's pretty funny, Eddie. He said he's getting to know the people that he lives with. Apparently they are his family. And I really thought that was probably one of the funniest answers. I saw another one, Eddie. I don't know if you've seen this one, but I saw someone say, I'm at home. I'm talking to this beautiful lady. She's very nice and sweet and funny. And apparently she's my wife. So those are some funny ones we've seen. We've got Tony said he's playing NHL 20. He said, quote, I'm trying to win my own damn cup. Amen. Go for it. And we also had Lorraine. She says that she's an accountant. Unfortunately, she has to work from home. She's doing her taxes for everybody or whoever's applying. And I've been doing that actually today before we recorded the show. I was going through all my stuff, Eddie. Super exciting going through all my tax stuff. So those are some of the big ones that we heard that people replied to, or some of the things that we've seen. Eddie, if there's any that you want to share, or you want to tell people what you're doing besides drinking at home, what do you think about, with your home hobbies? I mean, how are you keeping yourself entertained?
My buddy, his girlfriend has a couple kids. I made them do a hockey tournament last night on NHL 20, their first time playing that game, and that was the most entertaining thing to me. Of course, I was drinking, so I was overly hyped about goals or hits or fights. And definitely I was encouraging the fight until I guess the game doesn't allow you to fight a certain amount of times. And I guess we exceeded that last night because during the game you just couldn't fight anymore. I kept telling you, press triangle. They wouldn't fight. I did a sim on Ducks and Pucks of the Ducks and Kings game.
That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you. I got a lot of good feedback from that, so I'm probably going to just continue with that. I know I missed the Montreal one, but I think I'll start setting it up better and try to figure out ways to make it maybe live to keep everyone entertained. Other than that, I'm just sitting home, drinking. I got laid off recently. My company got absorbed, but now I guess their employees aren't coming to work. They're calling out. So they actually, called me back as a contractor to kind of just, do some paperwork and get signatures and do a little bit of work. So that's good for me. I get a little bit more income on that. Other than that, my team and I were planning to do a barbecue and beer skate this Friday at one of the parks. I know it's coronavirus. We're not supposed to go out, but I'm gonna die without hockey. And all the guys I play with, like we live for this sport, but we love it. Like we're beer league legends, I guess. Beer league Brian, you can call us. But yeah, I mean that's about it. Just gonna try to write some more articles, try to research more things, and try to just get better at podcasting and doing things for Ducks and Pucks, designing, just whatever I can to fill my mind up with hockey and to give more content and be better for Ducks and Pucks so you guys can be entertained too.
Yeah, Ronald is doing similar stuff too that you talked about. He's talking about redoing logos for NHL teams. He's done some designs for us in the past. He's done it for other people as well, and he's doing some jersey designs and different styles like that, and he does some photography as well, so that's something that he's looking at doing. Josh talked about hanging out with his family more, which I assume a lot of you are doing as well. And Thomas, our writer Thomas, he brought up Star Wars, which of course is one of my favorites. So, I mean, if you're going to have a movie marathon, why not have Star Wars, right? You've got, about a dozen movies to watch there. I also like Fast and the Furious, so you've got, 8 or 9 of those movies to watch as well, and different things like that. So I've been doing that. I've been watching, different movies. I watched Ford versus Ferrari, which I hadn't seen. I love that movie.
That movie was amazing. Holy crap. Like, yes. It makes me hate Ford a little bit more. That movie, the actors, was a great movie. Definitely check that out. If you guys want to talk movies too, just send us questions because I'm a movie buff. I love movies. I watch them. I watch a ton of movies, and I go through the trivia. I'm such a nerd. I'll go through all the trivia of the movies, all the goofs, all the deleted scenes, and I'll watch them and analyze it and just kind of sometimes, I know I'm sounding like a big nerd right now, but sometimes when I watch a movie, I'll write down who I think would be a better actor for that role and do it. It's just insane when I have movies. So if you guys want to talk about that, just tweet us, comment on Facebook, Instagram, and let us know. And we'll provide that for you too.
Yeah, I love that movie. For people that don't know, I'm a big Ford nut. I have a Mustang and I have a Lightning truck. I've been a big Ford guy my whole life. My whole family is all Ford people. Everybody has some kind of a Ford vehicle. So I didn't get to see it in a theater, so it was fun watching it. I was cracking up, Eddie, in there because the Italian guy was making a lot of pig-headed comments and things like that to Henry Ford Jr. and I was cracking up, and then to see him beat him, I thought it was pretty funny. But it is a good movie. The actors in there do a great job. Whether you like Ford or not, if you're a Chevy or Dodge guy, I get it. Or if you like Honda or some other car, I really don't care. Whatever company you like, great. But it's a good movie. It's one that I would watch. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've got a couple more on my list. I still haven't seen the latest Star Wars movie. Shame on me. I still haven't seen 1917. I want to watch that as well. So that's kind of how I'm filling up my time, Eddie, is finished all my tax stuff today, thank God. Now I'm writing articles too when things come out. Obviously, is some of the stuff we talked about, with the Samuelis and the ticket payments being delayed. But for me, movies have been a big thing, Eddie. That's really my free time. I like to work out, drink, and watch movies.
Oh, yeah. I've been going to the gym. Go figure, now it closes when I start going to the gym. But my buddy's girlfriend's son, he's 14 years old, and he's been asking about going to the gym. So I've been taking him with me. So he's forcing me and motivating me to go work out. So I've been doing that. I have a little makeshift thing in my little backyard where I'm shooting pucks just to get some exercise going. I'm still going to go do cardio and run. I have a few things I like to do in San Dimas, if you guys are familiar with that area. There's nice little trails you can run over there along the freeway. It's peaceful. Doing that, and that's pretty much it. Definitely watching movies. Watching a lot of movies. And I did watch all the Star Wars again, not because of this whole panic. I was watching, I decided to give it a try. I think a few months ago, I watched from first one to the last one, except the newest one that came out. I haven't watched that one yet. But you know what? I can say that, I'm a little bit of a Star Wars fan. I'm not like a hardcore one, but I like the plot and the whole storyline. It was good. It got to me. I was like, okay, I understand it now. And it is entertaining. We bought board games. We're gonna have like a little party tonight, or another kickback, and play Monopoly. So, old school Monopoly. If you guys don't hear from me in a few weeks, that means I got arrested for, I guess, domestic violence up here when I start losing in Monopoly, because you know how intense that game gets for some people. No, I'm just kidding. Though, yeah, we're just. I think one good thing I could say about this is it's bringing people together. Like last night, we were upstairs, just kind of socializing, barbecuing, and just actually being together as a family. I mean, I'm not their family, but I grew up with my best friend that I live with. I grew up with him since I was 4 years old, so he's just like my brother. So it's good to spend some time with him. Spend some time with his fiance, not his girlfriend. First, he starts yelling at me if he hears that. And her kids, to just be more sociable, and then teaching them, like, they're asking a lot of questions about hockey and working out, so I can pass my knowledge on to them and things like that. And one of them too made a comment about, Asian people. It's like, because my buddy's kid's half Asian. I was like, dude, I'm like, come on, man, be better than that. I just kind of just passing my knowledge and educating him and kind of teaching him, I guess, right from wrong, and using my mistakes in the past to kind of just guide them. So I kind of like that. It's happy I can actually share that. But I really miss hockey. I hope it comes back. Like, I'm about to put on my goalie equipment and go to the grocery store and buy some alcohol and record it for you guys, because I'm really bored and I really miss hockey.
That's the other part of this. The other poll question we did was about the grocery store. So my wife went a couple times on by herself, and then I just went recently, and the battle's going on at the grocery store. Oh my Lord. So we did a poll question, asking you, hey, what's the one item that you go in there and you try to buy, right? Because it's pretty much insane anywhere you go. You see these lines at Costco and Sam's Club that are like a mile long. I won't even go to those. I actually go to Smart and Final by my house, which was a much better and less insane experience. But we asked some people, and of course, our good buddy Thad, he used to live out here in California. He moved out to Texas. He goes, I went and bought beer. That's number one. I started laughing because that's what I bought too this past week. I got a whole big thing of Coors Light. Yeah, you can call me white trash or ghetto, whatever you want, but that's what one of the things I bought. But he had that on his list. We had Siska and Ruth. They both talked about buying water. I went and got that as well. Felix talked about going and getting tomatoes. We also had a couple people, Katrina and Michelle. They talked about getting TP. And also, Katrina cracked me up. She said also Spam was on her list of things to do. But, I mean, that's what it is. I mean, you're going to these stores trying to get stuff. When I went to Smart and Final, and all this stuff happened, we don't even have any paper towels in my household. I mean, that's what happened. We ran out when all this started going nuts, when everybody was going to grocery stores and supermarkets and hoarding stuff and whatnot. So I was fortunate. My first thing when I went to Smart and Final was I got a whole bunch of napkins. I know it sounds stupid, but we didn't have any paper towels. So that's what I ended up getting. I also got water, as some of you have talked about. Yes, I went and bought beer. I got some red wine. I did get some other produce and grocery things to eat. A few of the things. I was able to get my hand on some hand sanitizer. They were limiting the amount of that you could buy. Just craziness. I think the grocery store now is I call it our bar, because everything's being shut down, but that's where you go to socialize with people, Eddie. I mean, and if you go to like someplace like Whole Foods, you can even drink.
Oh man, I guess this is a perfect time for me. I'm a little more I guess sometimes antisocial. I mean, yeah, at games, and when you start to talk hockey, beer, movies, or like military stuff, then yeah, you'll get me talking. Other than that, I'm usually like a hermit crab. So I guess this is like, my time to shine. But you're right, though. It's just crazy. Going to the grocery store, trying to fight people for toilet paper. Had to yell at someone. They're trying to steal toilet paper from me. I'm like, man, I had to wipe my behind. Like, I'm not hoarding it. I just, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't be like a dog and go on the grass and just sit down and roll over. And it's like, man, it's just going crazy out there. Like I told you, I'm seriously going to put my goalie equipment on. I'm going to go to the grocery store. It's nuts out there. I do know a few bars that are still open, and talking to the owners, they're not planning to close. There's one bar in Pomona. Down in if you guys know where Pomona is, like the down, I guess I don't want to say North Pomona, I guess a little down. It's a little ghetto over there, so I have to wear a bulletproof vest or something. But hey, if it gets me out in socializing and grabbing a beer with someone in a social environment, I guess I have to do it. But yeah, I think the first thing I went, and it's funny because my buddy and I went out a couple days. He's overreacting a little bit. He panics, so he wants to buy all this food. But the first thing we actually did do in the grocery store when we first went in, we went to the liquor aisle. Got a bunch of alcohol, got beer, got bottles, and he's off work for a few weeks, and I guess indefinitely. So we're just stacking up, and we're just I take it as a vacation. I don't know, have some fun, play Monopoly, drink. So that's about it. Just be safe out there when you guys go, and just just remember too. If you're just thinking about hoarding and getting stuff in abundance, there's a lot of elderly people. They don't have that luxury, and to get that. Just leave some for them. It's not one of those things that it's gonna get crazy. A zombie apocalypse. If it happens, someone comes back from the dead and starts infecting people, and zombies start happening, I'll come back on the show and apologize. But it's not going to happen. So just leave a little bit extra for people that need it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the big thing is don't take everything for everybody. That's why the Smart Final is pretty good. They limited cases of water, paper towels, toilet paper, hand sanitizer, all that stuff. They limit it all to 2 per customer. So that was good at that store, and I know other stores are doing similar. And it's like, yeah, just share, people. Like, this is gonna pass. We don't know how long. Yes, we're gonna be kind of stuck going between home and work for a majority of us. Gas stations and the grocery store, really. Orange County's going on lockdown as we're recording the show. There's some news. I'm seeing some posts that they're shutting down basically gatherings of people that don't require essential services. So, that's coming, which we're not surprised. We heard that New York was doing it, and then LA was doing it, and San Francisco, now down here, and I'm sure it's going to keep on going across the United States. So, unfortunately, you got to entertain yourselves. And when you go to the grocery store to get stuff, don't be an asshole, okay? Share with other people. Don't be rude if there's something there. I pointed out stuff to some people. People were asking about napkins because they have paper towels and some more, and I showed them where it was at. I didn't try and grab every single one and run out of there. I mean, I got enough for myself because I don't have anything, but I didn't take everything that was left. Don't be rude. Don't be a jackass. Share, I mean, that's the big thing. And like Eddie said too, you got to remember too, there's people out there that have small children. There's people that are elderly. They need stuff just as much as all of us in our 20s, 30s, 40s, et cetera, that need. So just, be kind. Think about other people. If you need to get stuff, I get it, but don't grab everything. So before we get to the league news, I do have one of my...
I was going to say one thing, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to just interject real quick. Don't panic yet, and I'm making a joke, so bear with me. But once the liquor stores and strip clubs start closing, then start panicking, because those things are... I drove by a strip club the other day, it was packed. I was like, are they giving away free toilet paper or something? It's in liquor store. My liquor store guy told me, he's like, dude, it's been packed. Like, you need to buy more alcohol before it all goes out. I'm like, dude, you're fully stocked. What are you talking about? This guy's he's an ultimate salesperson. Every time I go buy something, he always upsells me, and I end up buying it. So, yeah. So I just want to throw that joke out there. I made a joke on Facebook, too, that liquor stores and strip clubs are open, so I'll have liver failure and pink eye.
And we're joking around, people. Like, if you see something that Eddie and I are posting, and you're like, well, that's insensitive. It's a joke. Relax. We're just trying to make light of this situation. Like we said,
you can send us a DM too, and we'll talk to you.
Yeah.
If you're really offended, I'll definitely apologize, because that's not my goal to offend anyone. Like I love all the listeners, the fans. Like it's just, we just like have fun, and we just try to like make just everyone happy and as best we can.
Yeah, you got to make do with the situation, okay? And sometimes we'll post things, cracking up jokes. I posted one. I thought it would, get more attention. I got some laughs out of it, but there's an emoji that looks like the damn COVID-19 virus, and not as many people laughed at that. Some did, some didn't. But I looked at that and I was like, really? You have an emoji of this damn virus? Like, seriously? Like, what the? You know what I mean? I think
I think your wife posted, like, I guess one of the mascots, the baseball mascots.
Yes,
like it too.
Philly fanatic.
Oh,
and same thing. Like, we're trying to make light of this, right? We're all in the situation together. We're all stuck. We can sit at home and be depressed and get mad at each other, or we can try to crack jokes and make light of it. Because trust me, there's going to be a day. I don't know how far away it is. I'm not a doctor, but there's going to be a day down the road that this is going to be over. Trust me, it's going to happen. The question is just when. It will happen. We will get past it. It's going to suck. It's going to take some time. When there's no sports, no social gatherings, no bars, everything's shutting down. It's getting crazy, but it'll happen. We'll get to that point. We just got to suck it up and get through it and whatnot. So I did bring in one of my buddies that I'll have on the show right now that I talked to him real briefly. Basically, he's a doctor. I've known him for 30 years. My good friend Joe, he talks about this virus, things that you can do, and how to handle this. So I'll talk to him a little bit real briefly on that, and then we'll wrap up the show with the league news. Joining me now is my good friend, Joe, who I've known for over 30 years and is a doctor, and brought him on the show to talk a little bit about the COVID-19 virus, as obviously it's affected the NHL and sports around the world and society in general as well. So, Joe, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come on and talk about this.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for having me.
So a little bit about your background, Joe. Just let everybody know, I guess, your education or whatnot. You've been practicing medicine for a long time. You want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself before we dive into some of the stuff about the virus?
Yeah, sure. I basically did most of my training in Southern California at UC Irvine, medical school, residency, and went to Houston for a few years to continue training, and then also UC San Francisco. And then now I work in Los Angeles area, and been, I guess, a doctor since 2008 when I graduated med school.
Yeah, I know. You've been doing it for a long time. So that was the point. That's why I wanted to bring you on here, because a lot of people are talking about this in the news, and there's misinformation going on, different things, different sources and whatnot. So that's why I wanted to have you on the show, because people are obviously concerned about this. They kind of want to know like what's really going on. So I guess the first thing to start with is, what is COVID-19? It's basically a virus, but more specifically, like, what is it? Everyone wants to know, because a lot of people compare it to the flu, but it's worse than the flu, is it not?
Yeah, it's a respiratory illness. It's a virus, and it's much worse than the flu. The flu, you have a death rate of maybe 0.1%, whereas with coronavirus, it's much higher. It's about 2%. Some articles I've seen state 3.4%, but really we don't know is the answer. And the specifics about the virus, we don't really know, because it's only been going on for, there's no long-term studies. All we know is how many people have died and how many people have been tested that are positive. So it may be lower than that, because you have people who have it who may not have been tested. So it's really uncertain. You basically have to wait until, this thing is over with. Then you look back on the data, then you look at how many people died, how many people, had tested positive, because there's some lag time there. So yeah, it's way more serious than the common flu.
And what do you think makes it more serious? Like, for example, if I cough and I have the regular flu or cold, the germs last, I'm not a doctor, but they last a few hours. With this COVID-19, I think we had talked before you came on the show that they tend to last a week or more. Is that not true?
Yeah, it's hard to say exactly. Again, we don't have like a lot of data, but from sources I've seen, it can last on hard surfaces. So they're transmitted through droplets. So if someone has it and they cough, those droplets, or touch their nose or mouth and then touch a surface, then it'll be on that surface. And if someone else comes and touches that and then you know touches their nose, or then eats something, then they can get it that way. So it's person to person transmission, not necessarily airborne, but we don't really know 100% or anything for sure. But if you cough and it lives in droplets and someone else breathes it in close vicinity, then you can get it. So that's why they have the social distancing. They recommend washing your hands for at least 20 seconds. If you don't have it, then use hand sanitizer with at least 70% alcohol. And then not to touch your face, mainly your mouth, nose, eyes. And so those are kind of precautions that you can take.
Now, do you think, as far as like what the government's doing is, shutting down restaurants and bars and schools, you see Las Vegas is shut down, all this stuff. Do you think that that's what they should be doing? Because, some people are out there going, oh my God, this is an overreaction. We should still be able to go out to eat and do these things. What do you think? Because a lot of people look at it and they're kind of confused. Is it too much that we're doing, or do you think we're doing too little, I guess?
I think we're doing too little, and our reaction was too late. We should have acted on this way earlier, knowing that it was in Asia and we had like 5 cases in the US. We should have ramped up, testing kits in anticipation, PPE, personal protective equipment, gloves, masks. And we just totally were not prepared. And so now it's just a matter of not being able to just, stop it. It's just trying to what's called flatten the curve, right? So it's just trying to prevent yourself from getting sick for as long as possible to not overwhelm the healthcare system. So I think, in response to your question, should we be shutting down social gathering areas, restaurants, bars? Absolutely. This is a very serious disease, and especially in the elderly and people with comorbidities, which means that they have other illnesses or are immunocompromised. It is much more serious for that population. So, but that doesn't mean that just older people and people who are immunocompromised are at risk. There are several cases that I've seen where people in their 30s or 40s, perfectly healthy, no medical problems, they've died from this. So, I'm in my 40s, so that kind of scares me. And so for me to sacrifice not going out, to a bar or a concert or movie theater or someplace that's crowded, for me personally, I think it's worth my life, to just sacrifice that for a while. And so,
well, the other part of that too, for you, is like you said.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
To add to that, not just me personally, but I have a mom, my mother-in-law, and so I don't want to get them sick too. So I may have it and not know it, and then transmit it to them, and they're at much more risk than I am. So it's not just about yourself; it's also about people in your family who may have may be older, may have medical problems, may be immunocompromised. So yes, maybe you're a teenager in your 20s and you think that you can go out and go to bars and still, expose yourself to others. Well, I mean, that's just going to keep prolonging this, because you're just going to keep passing it and passing it and passing it. And you're going to get older people sick that you encounter. And so it's just kind of a social responsibility for everyone to be on the same page.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you're saying, younger people in the teens and 20s may get it and survive it, and they think they're invincible, but can pass it on to people older, like you talked about. That's part of the issue too, is affecting people with compromised immune systems and older people. But it's also younger people carrying it around. The other thing for you that I applaud you for is that you have to go to work. You go to the hospital 5-6 days a week, and you don't know 100% what's going on. So for you, it's got to be a little nerve-wracking, going to the hospital and then not knowing what you're going to face every day.
Yeah, it's times have changed. It's completely different. We converted like an entire floor of our hospital to coronavirus patients. So far, there haven't been any confirmed positives that I know about, but this is an ongoing thing. Things change like every 12 hours. So
yeah, exactly.
If you talk to me, basically last week, we did not convert an entire floor to just coronavirus patients. And, basically all elective surgeries have been canceled because they also take up hospital beds. If you need surgery, you need to stay in the hospital, but it's not like absolutely necessary, then those cases have been canceled. Cancer patients are still getting their cancer surgeries because, it's not really elective. But for every patient who doesn't need to be in the hospital, they're taking up a bed for someone who does need to be in the hospital. So it's just really crazy right now. And I mean, I just heard on the news this morning about Italy, who have been battling this. And there was a doctor who basically said, yeah, yesterday 20 people died. They have to, all their ICU beds are taken, all their ventilators are taken. If you're like 85 and you have coronavirus and you need a ventilator, you don't qualify. Like
crazy.
Because you're going to die anyways. So they're basically having to make life and death calls. And, I can't really, it's hard to imagine, having to make that call, telling someone we can't try to save your dad because this younger, 45-year-old guy needs to use the ventilator and has a better chance than you, and he has 3 kids.
Right.
So
extremely difficult decision.
Yeah. Like, I would pray I never have to make that decision. But I mean, this is becoming more real and real. And so the best thing that we can do just as a society is just try to beat this together. We have to actively participate in social distancing and not just be very relaxed about this. Take it seriously. Wash your hands. If you touch any surface, try not to touch your face. And I mean, if you're not sick, you don't need a mask. So if you're, just buying up all the masks, like the people who need it in the hospitals, you're taking it from them.
Right. Right. No, stop the hoarding stuff, basically.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, and also, I mean, this country doesn't have a shortage of food. There's plenty of it, but people keep hoarding it. So,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's what we're talking about in the show too, a little bit about going to the grocery store and trying to pick out those items, but also to share. So,
I mean, these are dire times, but just to give a little light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, my brother, he lives in Hong Kong. He's currently in Japan. And at the beginning of this, I had offered to send him, supplies if he needed it. I bought some stuff on Amazon and like hand sanitizer. I did get a mask, even though now looking back, like, yeah, I don't wear the masks if I'm going to be out in the open. You don't need it. I see people driving in a car alone wearing a mask, and I don't get it.
Right. Right.
But over there, and there was mass hysteria, mass panic. All the toilet paper got bought out. All the hand sanitizer, he couldn't find any. So I overnight try to ship, hand sanitizer, some masks. And back then we didn't really know as much. We still don't know a lot, but
right.
We know a little bit more now. And now he says plenty of toilet paper, plenty of hand sanitizers, plenty of masks. Like, he's currently in Japan, but he's going back to Hong Kong later this month. But he said, yeah, if we need supplies, he was going to send them. But so things are getting better over there. But, they've had more testing, which is another issue because we were very late with testing as well. And so we couldn't identify who had it and then isolate those people. And so if you want to see a trend, we're pretty much following Italy's trend, whereas China, Korea, Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, they've been able to keep their numbers down because social distancing, isolation, screening. So they've really taken a lot of measures and really taken it seriously, locked things down, and they've been able to do a lot better in their numbers compared to like Italy and United States. So,
well, I appreciate you coming on the show and talking about this because some people don't understand how serious it is, and it's good to have someone that's in the field that knows what's going on, is dealing with it. So thanks for taking out the time and coming on the show, Joe. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, Mike. Anytime.
And that was my interview with my buddy Joe. Pretty interesting thing, Eddie, there. I thought the good point that he brought up was the flu. Usually 1 in 100 people can die from it. Now he's talking about the studies on it. He's saying 2 to 4 people out of 100 can die from it. So it is a serious thing. We try to make light of this on the show. We joke around and things like that and whatnot. But this whole thing about social distancing and being smart and being clean and all that stuff, it's a serious thing. It is. Like we said, it's going to pass. But we do need to take these precautions, Eddie, because this virus is pretty aggressive. It's not like a normal flu where you cough, the germs last a couple hours. This stuff lasts for at least a week or so. There's different reports. Obviously, I'm not a doctor, but my buddy Joe was on there and we talked about it. So at least take it seriously for now. It does suck. Oh, we're shutting down all this stuff. And I see people going, well, why do we shut down everything? This is a bunch of BS. Well, it's not. And I've talked to him and other people that are in that profession, and they're telling me what's going on. It's pretty serious stuff. So going on this lockdown is what we have to do. We got to bear through it. You can, listen to our podcast as we crack jokes as best we can. We talk about different things, watch movies, work out, other things that you want to do. But take it seriously, people. Stay safe, and we'll get through this. I didn't know if there was anything you wanted to add, Eddie, as far as what my friend said. But, he's just basically saying to take it seriously and don't take it lighthearted.
And don't be a piece of shit either. Stop, I see a lot of people, videos and posts about Asian and Asian community. Don't be a piece of shit. Stop discriminating and stop the racist remarks, because it's not because a certain race of people. It's a virus that just obviously we're trying to contain it. And you making ignorant comments and saying racist comments like that, it just makes you look like a piece of shit. And I really hope if you're that kind of person and you discriminate and you're making racist remarks, I really hope you don't listen to this show, because I definitely don't want those kind of people listening. It's one of those things that it's unfortunate. It's happening right now, but stop putting down or stop being racist and making those discriminatory remarks. It's uncalled for. I had to talk to a kid. My buddy's kid last night about that. It's not funny. It's making them feel unwelcome. It's disgusting. So like you said, Mike, just love one another. Be kind, be strong. we're all in this together.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it started over in China, but why you got to poke at those people? I don't get it. So. With that, what we'll do is we'll finish up our show like we normally do with the league news, and we'll talk about some things that are going on. One of the things that came up was kind of surprise, Eddie, was that Jonas Hiller announced his retirement. We learned that from his European team. He made that announcement, and then of course the Ducks posted something about it as well. He was one of my favorite goalies. I liked the way he played. Obviously, it still stings losing in the playoffs and back. Against the Kings and whatnot, and that stupid Game 7. I hate to bring it up, but I hated that moment. But he my wife really liked him too. He did really great. And then, of course, in 2011, he gets hit in the All-Star game in the head. And then after that, he had some issues and had some inconsistent play, which was unfortunate. But I'm happy that he, did his retirement. And the best memory, of course, was the Stadium Series game. Ducks beating the Kings 3-0 in that one. My wife surprised me. She got me tickets because it was the week after my birthday. So I'll never forget that moment. He got the shutout. So I'm just happy that, he was able to retire. I wish he would have got to play a little bit more, Eddie, but I just wish him the best.
Oh, same here. He was one of my favorite goalies. He's an awesome guy. On the ice and off the ice, I had the chance to meet him a few times. It's such a great guy. My ex-wife and I went to a skating thing. He was there, and that was her favorite player. And he was just so patient, and like she was asking him questions, hugging him, talking to him, and he was just laughing and joking around with her. It was just an awesome experience that he had. He was our goaltender. He was a Ducks player, and like I always say, and the movie said, "Ducks fly together." Once a Duck, always a Duck. So it's glad that it's unfortunate that he had to leave the NHL the way he did. But I'm glad that he was able to still play the sport and retire on his own terms. So thank you, Jonas Hiller, for everything you've done for the Ducks and the hockey. And I hope you have a great retirement and everything goes up from there.
Yeah. You want to cover the rest of the league news? A lot of it's pretty much about teams, whether or not they're paying and the employees and things like that, and a couple other things. Wherever you want to start, and if you want to break it down to wrap up the last segment here.
I wanted to give a shout out to OC Animal Care. If you guys, they're one of our partners that we partner with to try to promote, adoptions and stuff like that. I know a lot of people are staying home and on lockdown. I don't think they're closed. They're still available for adoption. I'm getting emails from them too. But if you're considering adopting, why not now? You have the extra time. If you need that support animal, I know it's not like an official support animal, but animals can give you that kind of love that you need and kind of lift your spirits. So I want to give a shout out to them. If you guys haven't followed them, go follow them, share their stuff, and try to get someone, one of these animals adopted. We have a little bit of good news, positive news. Sean Weiss, from if you guys remember him, he was Goldberg from the Mighty Ducks movies. He was released from custody. He'll enter a consecutive 90-day rehab facility, and when he gets back, he'll go to like a sober living and like outpatient sober living. He'll be monitored. There's a lot of people pulling for him. I wish him all the best. I hope that he overcomes whatever problems that he's suffering, psychological, and definitely he overcomes his drug addiction. He has a lot more than he understands, so I hope he overcomes that, and hopefully he can have a successful treatment. He can come back and be stronger, and I don't know, maybe one day we can bring him on the show. I wrote him a DM. I follow him on Facebook, so hopefully once he gets better, we can try to talk to him about that. The St. Louis Blues against the Ducks game. It was their makeup game when Jay Bouwmeester, when he had that incident, that medical incident. I wanted to just give a shout out to the Ducks. They offered the free parking, 19% off their merch, and then half the 50-50 raffle went to UCI Health. That's a really good gesture. Once again, it makes me proud to be a Ducks fan that they're like sticking together and they're doing that for I guess their rival team when they were playing. Let's go to the Dallas Stars. Jim Montgomery, he reached his 90 days of sobriety. He's been released from a rehab facility. If you guys don't remember him, the Dallas Stars fired him due to his alcohol problem. I want to give a shout out to him. I've never been to rehab, but I'm pretty sure if you're struggling with an addiction, it's hard to overcome it. So that's good for him. Also, Dallas Stars, Alexander Radulov. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. My bad. I'm not Russian. He's being tested for the COVID-19. He's been sick for 2 weeks, but he's showing no signs after that. Just want to throw that out there. I doubt he has anything. Calgary Flames. Ken King, president and CEO of the Flames, and Hitman from 2001 to 2019, and vice chairman from 2019 to 2020, has passed away. My thoughts and prayers to him, the organization, and his family. Now I want to talk about Brad Marchand. He started a GoFundMe for employees. Their owner's worth $3.5 billion, but still hasn't really given to his employees. I talked about this earlier on the show, how the Ducks, I'm really proud the Ducks were covering their employees for the whole month of March. It's just sad that the Bruins aren't. Another thing that kind of pissed me off was my second favorite team that I like, the Colorado Avalanche. Their ownership is not going to reimburse or cover any of the funds for their employees. I think that's really unfortunate and sad. And selfish of their owners. They have a shit ton money, more than we have, and they're not even going to try to help out their employees. So it's one of those things, Mike. It's just unfortunate, and it's sad to see that these rich owners they can't just throw you $100 out of their pocket or something. I want to give a shout out to Florida Panthers and Sergei Bobrovsky. He donated $100,000 for the employees during, the suspended season. His teammates matched it, and the team will cover all the additional costs, so shout out to them. And then the final thing I'm going to talk about, I'm sure you want to touch on this too, Mike. Michael Russo from The Athletic first reported that the NHL is considering or might have retro jerseys coming next season. As far as the Ducks, I'm not sure if that's going to be confirmed, but I really hope they just stick to the eggplant jersey, don't change anything. Just put the Adidas logo because you have to. But I think it'll be pretty cool. More jerseys the better. You have a home and away and a third. I mean, why not add a fourth jersey? And maybe sometime in the future you can add a fifth, and you can wear that during the games. It'd be really cool to see these these special nights like hockey fights, cancer, or military appreciation night, seeing them wear a different jersey. I think that'd be fun for the fans. It'd be really cool. So I don't know if you want to touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a great idea. I think for me, going back to the original white, green, black, jerseys that they had, the Mighty Ducks ones, obviously from 1993, would be awesome if they had those out there. I still have mine. I honestly don't fit in a couple of them because I was, a teenager growing up. My original jersey is a size, I believe it's a large, and of course the jerseys changed back then. Don't forget they had starter jerseys. Everything's different. Then over time it changed. There was Champion, then we had Reebok, and then Adidas and Nike. There's a whole bunch of different ones. But the ones I had they don't really fit. There's a couple more I did buy later on. I know I finally got XLs, and they fit me. So I would like to see that. I like the original jersey, and if they were able to bring that back for the Ducks and other teams too, I think that would be a pretty cool thing. Like you said, maybe not something they wear all the time, but maybe they have 4 or 5 games throughout the year that whatever it is, if it's a special night and they want to wear it, I think it'd be cool. Like maybe they have it on the home opener and the home finale game, and then they throw it in with a few games throughout the season, whichever they decide to do. I think that would be pretty cool. And as far as even the third jerseys, I wouldn't be opposed to them just having it as a regular third jersey. I really like the old school home jersey. If you remember, back in the day, the home jerseys were predominantly white, and then the away colors were your team, if it was black or red or green or whatever it was. And now it's different. Now it's the home team is black, green, red, and the away team or your away jersey is the white colored jersey. So I think it would be kind of cool to do that. Obviously, they'd have to be some scheduling things. We've seen that where teams have switched jerseys around because of whoever they're playing, right? Because now it's different. If you're wearing a white jersey and you're at home, and then the away team is wearing a white jersey, now there's a little bit of a conflict. So they would have to kind of figure that out and work it out. But I think it would be a great idea, definitely, Eddie. I think it's something that would just kind of old school stuff and bring it back. It's a good idea.
Oh, definitely. I would love to see that. I know the fans, people, we see your comments. You definitely love that old school jersey. It'd be fun to see. Like, hell, even do like an old school Mighty Ducks movie night and we have them wear those jerseys. Oh my God, that'd be amazing. I'm sure it'll cost a pretty penny or so, but I'll definitely buy one of those jerseys and definitely be at that game. But just imagine like all the fans around the league to see the Ducks play those like old school Mighty Ducks from the movie jerseys. Oh, forget about it. That'd be just too great.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, while this is all going on, we still have our shirts and stuff for sale and whatnot. We might be doing some more giveaways just to help out and whatnot as the time goes by for now. And we don't know when we'll do another show. Obviously, we'll keep posting the updates as they come out. We'll try and post some articles. You know, if someone else decides to retire or some other kind of news from the league comes up, we'll stay on top of it between Eddie and I and some of the other people. So look for that. Like I said, I don't know when we'll do another show, but we're going to keep on trying to do some during this time. Obviously, the topics are going to vary. If there's things that you guys want us to talk about, because the season, of course, is not happening right now, we're more than happy to talk about it. Like we said, we talked about kind of what are you doing at home, right? What are your home hobbies, and what are you going to the grocery store to buy? Because that's the big thing going on right now. But if there's some other stuff, if you want a show on movies like Eddie talked about earlier, we can talk about that. You want a show on working out or a show on drinking or all the above or something else, we're more than happy to keep on going and talking about different things and keep the show going. So we appreciate you guys listening. I know it's tough right now. Just going to kind of leave you with the statement that we posted when this all happened. And then, we'll be back within maybe a week or two. All right. So I'll leave you with this, our kind of our official statement in regards to everything. This event is bigger than the Anaheim Ducks in the sport of hockey. It affects the entire sports industry and the world as a whole. Our sympathies and concerns go out to anyone affected by this worldwide incident. This may be a trying time for the world, but the triumph of the human spirit will get us through this. Stay strong, stay safe, be kind, and love one another. Let's go Ducks.